What's going on, everybody? My name is Anthony, aka Tone114, and I am bringing you my Week 7 team builder of the National Exhibition Syndicate when I go up against Sacred Thunder, coach of the Drakeville Dragonites. Now, we are trying to rebound from a tough 2-0 loss in our last match against the AC Lanterns, but I feel as though that despite that we are now 4-2 on the season, we can come back and regain our momentum heading into the midway point of the season. If you hear anything in the background, you'll have to excuse me. There's fireworks going on. I am recording this on Independence Day, so happy Independence Day to everybody that celebrates it. Now, you'll notice something different about my team. I made a slight transaction. Looking at my team as a whole, I felt as though the most expendable Pokemon on my team was my Uxie, as other Pokemon could compress its rolls, stuff like that. If I wanted rocks, I had four other Pokemon. I had Nidoqueen, I had Cobalion, I had Blissey, and I had Druddigon. If I wanted T-Wave support, I had Blissey, I had Lantern, I have Glare on Druddigon, stuff like that. Momentum, I had Slow Volt Switch with Lantern, Volt Switch with Cobalion. So Uxie felt kind of out of place with the team, so I decided to drop Uxie. And I decided that my team needed some speed, and I also needed to pick up a tier 3 Pokemon as I dropped the tier 3 Mon, so I picked up a Pokemon that was recently dropped by another coach, and I felt as though it would work very, very well with my team, excuse me for the fireworks in the back. So I decided to pick up Aerodactyl, as Aerodactyl gives me immediate speed. I don't have to rely on my Scolipede getting a speed boost to outspeed base 120s, as Aerodactyl has that base 130 speed, has that base 105 attack. I do sacrifice bulk for speed, but I do have enough bulk in the back with my Blissey, Druddigon, my Gourgeist, and my Lantern. So it's not that big of a deal, and defensive Hitmon top 2, if you want to count that. Gives me a nice fast Pokemon to complement the rest of my team. Can finish off weakened opponents. Has access to good moves, Stone Edge, Earthquake. Doesn't have the best flying stab, as its best flying stab outside of Fly is Aerial Ace and Wing Attack. But I can do some other stuff with it. I can do a potential Choice Band if I wanted to, but I don't want to compress my Aerodactyl that much. So most likely when you see me bring Aerodactyl, it'll most likely be either a Life Orb set or a Taunt set, or maybe even a lead Stealth Rock set. Who knows what will happen. But going into my opponent's team, he has a very threatening team across the board. He has the Latios, very strong wall breaker, can run a Choice Scarf set, can be a Calm Mind set, can be a Life Orb 4 attack set, has access to Defog, a very good Pokemon in general that can break down my defensive core very, very well. He has a Togekiss, very versatile Pokemon, another potential Choice Scarf user. Has access to Thunder Wave with the Paraflinches with Serene Grace Air Slash. It's going to be a very, very big pain behind to deal with the Togekiss. But I feel as though that my team can handle it somewhat. I do have some good switch into Togekiss. He has a Crocodile. Crocodile, another good Pokemon, can be a Stealth Rock setter with defensive and Intimidate. Can be a Choice Scarf Moxie set, has access to Knockoff, access to Earthquake, can Stone Edge, hit my Aerodactyl, my Scolipede, stuff like that. Heliolisk, another good fast Mon, has Dry Skin, so it can mitigate my Manaphy Scald. Can Volt Switch, Thunderbolt, Hyper Voice, has access to Surf, can Grass Knot, other moves like that. Virizion, another good Pokemon, can go physical with Swords Dance, can run a Calm Mindset, can be a Choice Scarfer, can be a support set potentially with Synthesis, something like that. Golurk, I'm not really expecting, but it is a good Stealth Rocker. It's a Stealth Rocker and a Spin Blocker all in one. Has access to No Guard Dynamic Punch, can be Iron Fist with Shadow Punch, good solid stab with Earthquake, has all the elements of punch at his disposal. So if he does bring it, I expect it to be something that if he wants to better handle my Hitmontop, prevent it from rapid spinning, but as you see by my team, I'm not bringing Hitmontop this week. He has Jirachi, another Pokemon which complements his Togekiss very well. It has that very solid Dragon Fairy Steel Core in Latios, Togekiss, and Jirachi. Jirachi can be a multitude of sets. From physical Choice Scarf, can be a special attacker with Choice Scarf, can be a substitute set. The list goes on and on with the variations of Jirachi that he could potentially bring versus me. Infernape is pretty much in the same category as Jirachi, as it can do physical, it can do sword stance, nasty plot, choice scarf, lead stealth rock set. So if he does bring that Infernape, I have to be very, very careful to see what I have to scout it out to see what it does, what moves it potentially has for me. He has that Quagsire. Quagsire I'm not really expecting, as if he brings it to try to check my unaware Manaphy, but he has to fear my energy ball, and he has to fear a bunch of other coverage moves. I could bring energy ball in my Gardevoir if I wanted to. So I'm not really expecting Gardevoir this week. I'm not expecting Quagsire at all this week, as it can easily be shut down by the rest of my Pokemon, overwhelmed by my wall breakers. He has that Jinx. Another Pokemon that I'm not really expecting, but it does have access to Dry Skin, which can stop my Manaphy from scalding, like the Heliolisk. Can be a Focus Sash user with like Lovely Kiss, Ice Beam, Psychic, and probably like a coverage move like Focus Blast to deal with my Blissey. But my Blissey can beat Jinx in a 1v1 situation if I don't get some crazy hacks going on, or be like a nasty plot Lovely Kiss set, which could be a possibility. And lastly, he does have that Mega Blastoise, a very nice bulky rapid spinner with access to gets the Mega Launcher ability as a Mega Evolve, so it boosts his Aura, boosts the power of Aura Sphere, Dark Pulse, Water Pulse, access to Ice Beam. Again, I said it can rapid spin. So a nice bulky attacker for his team. As for what I'm expecting him to bring to the battle, I'm expecting the Latios, as it can break past my Blissey with Life Orb Psyshock. I'm expecting the Togekiss with the Thunder Wave shenanigans. I'm expecting the Crocodile, as it can potentially get up rocks, knock off my items, stuff like that. Definitely expecting the Jirachi to come, as it complements with the paralyzing ability of Togekiss. I'm expecting Infernape, as it is very versatile in its ways. I don't know what he can bring for Infernape. One is Infernape. And as for the last Pokemon, of course, I'm expecting him to bring that Mega Blastoise, as it is a very good wall breaker. Despite the fact that I am bringing my Blissey, as you see, I'll get to that in a second. But I feel as though that if he can wear down my Blissey with his Latios and his Blastoise to come in and finish it off, if my Blissey is too weak to better wall his Pokemon. So with that out of the way, I'm going to move into my 6 Pokemon and describe why I'm bringing them for the reasons I did. So the first Pokemon you see here, I have Crimson coming back again with a physically defensive Rough Skin Rocky Helmet set with, excuse me. Anyway, with Rough Skin Rocky Helmet with Stealth Rock, Glare, Fire Punch, and Gunk Shot. No Dragon Stab this time around. Druddigan's main role is to switch in on the Jirachi, wear it down with Rough Skin Rocky Helmet damage, as Jirachi is a hard wall to my Mega Gardevoir. Glare is here to paralyze everything on his team except for that Heliolisk. Fire Punch is here for the Jirachi, wear it down, hits the Verishian too, and Gunk Shot's here to catch that Togekiss on the switch. Man, party's in full swing outside. Anyway, max HP, max defense with the Impish nature. Let it take hits from a physical Jirachi. I am praying he brings a physical Jirachi. I hope it's not special, or else the Druddigan's going to be in a lot of trouble. Which I'm basically bringing it to deal with physical Jirachi, wear it down with Rough Skin Rocky Helmet damage, and then I take it out later on with either my Scolipede or my Manaphy, which I will get to in a second. So moving on to the second Pokemon here, we have Eggland's Best. We have the Blissey coming back for another week. This time it's a little bit different. I bring Soft Boil, Thunderbolt, Thunder Wave, and Ice Beam with the Bold Nature, Max Defense, Max Special Defense. Mainly, this is supposed to check the Latios, and then cripple it with a Thunder Wave, cripple always fast attackers with a Thunder Wave, the Infernape, the Jirachi, the Togekiss, the Latios, the Mega Blastoise. Things that it can come in on somewhat, but my Bolt Beam coverage is here, as it hits everything on his team pretty well, with the exception of Yeah, actually, yeah, it hits everything. It hits everything on his team for at least neutral damage, which is why I'm bringing it. I initially had Toxic over Thunderbolt here as Toxic to wear down the potential Quagsire or the potential Verision, but I felt as though that Thunderwave was enough as he has a very offensive team, doesn't really have any bulky stall breakers, so to speak. So some bulky walls, so to speak. So Thunderwave hits to cripple those fast attackers. Thunderbolt hits a Togekiss, hits a Mega Blastoise, and Ice Beam is here for the Latios, the Verision, the Crocodile, etc. Max defense, max special defense with rest and special attack. Just make it as bulky as possible, giving me a check to the Latios, a check to the Togekiss if it's not a nasty plot. It lets me handle pretty much everything on his team except for the Verision, which I am kind of afraid of, as I don't really have a good switch into Verision per se, but I think I can handle it pretty well with Druddigan. And now we're moving on to the third Pokemon, making its return from 2 weeks ago. We have Illuminati here, the Lantern. I am running a offensive Assault Vest Lantern here with Hydro Pump, Ice Beam, Discharge, and Hidden Power Grass. So as I said before, or if I haven't said so, he has that Togekiss, he has Jirachi. Paraspam is a pain in the behind to deal with. I do not want my Pokemon to be paralyzed. Lantern's here to take those Thunder Waves, eat it up, recover some potential health, and then hit back with a very strong attack. Hydro Pump, strongest move, strongest water type it gets access to. I know I can run like Surf over Hydro Pump for the accuracy, but I felt as though the added power would help me potentially weaken the Crocodile. Ice Beam for the Latios for the Verision, and it hits the Togekiss as well. Discharge is here for the Togekiss and the Mega Blastoise. Also has that potential paralyzing chance. And HP Grass is here just in case he brings that Golurk. I mean, not the Golurk. In case he brings that Quagsire, as it can switch in. It doesn't want to take a Hydro Pump, but if you bring like Water Absorb Quagsire, I want to bring HP Grass just in case, as it is a potential 2-hit KO on the switch. Running max defense, max special attack, rest and defense, special defense with the Assault Vest, so it can take hits from special attack on the Togekiss. It can take Side Shock from the Latios, which is why I went max defense with the Assault Vest, try to balance out his defenses a bit. And Lantern's main job is to act as a backup check to that Togekiss. As Thunder Wave, like I said, is a pain for my team. I didn't want any of my Pokemon to get paralyzed, especially my sweepers. So I figured Lantern would be a good response to that. Moving on to our fourth Pokemon here, Lily, the Mega Gardevoir, makes its return with I am bringing back Trick Room Mega Gardevoir from week 1 with Trick Room, Psyshock, Hyper Voice, and Shadow Ball. Psyshock and Hyper Voice hits everything on his team for at least neutral damage, except for that Jirachi, which explains Shadow Ball. Now, I did a quick calc on the Jirachi, and if he's a Choice Scarf set, then Shadow Ball from a max special attack, positive special attack nature Gardevoir does about 68 to 81%. So after Rough Skin Rocky Helmet damage from the potential Druddigan if he's a physical set, and I get up a Trick Room, Shadow Ball does have a chance to knock out Jirachi if I get up rocks as well. But I'm hoping it doesn't come to that, as I'm basically banking on my Pokemon to wear down that Jirachi enough to the point where I don't have to go to that situation. I just get up a Trick Room and I can spam either Psyshock or Hyper Voice against his team. It's a very solid late game sweeper for me, so I figured why not bring Mega Gardevoir this time around. Trick Room does a lot to his team simply because he has a lot of fast Pokemon, and from his previous battles that I've seen, he's tended to run Choice Scarf a lot on his Pokemon, so I can take advantage of that, get up a Trick Room, and then just potentially get up a Sweep. So that's my Mega Gardevoir in a nutshell. My fifth Pokemon on my team is a Manaphy, rocking the Sub Tailglow Salix set with Substitute, Tailglow, Scald, and Energy Ball. Now, this set takes on every Pokemon on his team with the exception of that Verision, which I am not really expecting, but I do have other ways to deal with Verision. But this is another potential late game sweeper, or I could potentially use it early on in battle if I have a favorable matchup, but Manaphy is here just to wall break. Wear down those offensive threats to my team, wear down the Infernape, wear down the potential Jirachi I can speed tie with, which is why I'm bringing max special attack, max speed, timid nature, speed tie with those non-choice scarf Jirachis. But if I see Jirachi, I'll probably expect it to be choice scarf first and foremost. If I get into Stalic range, I can speed tie with a Scarf Jirachi, get off a nice, hopefully a +3 Scald. An Energy Ball is here, so I am not walled by that Mega Blastoise. I was kind of debating between Ice Beam and Energy Ball, but I know it was either get walled by Latios and Verision, or get walled by Mega Blastoise. And in the past, he has brought substitute Mega Blastoise. I did not want to risk that, so Energy Ball is here instead. I do have other options to deal with Verision and Latios if need be. So I'm not potentially that worried. I will set up only after I see the Latios and the Verision are gone. And now we move on to our final Pokemon here, which is Scolipede Centikill, my Centikill with the Life Orb Speed Boost, with Poison Jab, Mega Horn, Earthquake, and Substitute. This is actually the first Pokemon I put on my team, because as you look through my opponent's team, I have this set right here, has super effective coverage for every single Pokemon on his team, with the exception of the Quagsire and the Golem. Nothing else on his team is resistant to Poison Jab, Mega Horn, and Earthquake. And I had to bring Scolipede for that specific reason. Another potential late game sweeper. I'm hoping that Scolipede puts in the work with this set. It all depends on what he brings versus me and what I can set up a substitute on. I initially had Protect over Substitute simply to scout for Thunder Wave on the Togekiss, Thunder Wave on the Jirachi. Just moves in general, get up a speed boost, and then just try to sweep his team, wear it down. Poison Jab for the Togekiss, for the Verision. Mega Horn hits the Latios, hits the Crocodile, hits the Jinx, and Earthquake hits basically everything else, at least neutrally. But it is, like I said, this set hits everything on his team for at least neutral damage. So, max attack here. I have to run Jolly Nature this time around, as I do not want to be outsped by Latios and Infernape, stuff like that. So this is running enough speed to outspeed a non-Choice Scarf Latios. And I'll always be faster than Latios, even if it's not Choice Scarf. Hit it with a nice big Mega Horn. It sucks that I have to go Jolly or Adamant, but I cannot afford my Scolipede to be outsped by these offensive threats. I could not risk that at all in the slightest. So, basically, I'm just going to try to... So basically, my plan with this team is, depending on what he brings versus me, I'll kind of adjust my strategy a bit, as my main goal is to sweep late game with either the Manaphy, the Mega Gardevoir, or the Scolipede, with backup from my defensive walls and my offensive Tank Lantern to take those Thunder Waves, which my team absolutely hates, except for Blissey. But nonetheless, I'm very excited to get this battle underway. Sacred Thunder is a very solid battler. He is 4-2. I am 4-2. I do not want to take back-to-back losses here. So here's hoping that we can try to get to 5-2 and try to get back on track. So until next time, I'm going to battle to you post-com later. But until next time, my name is Anthony, aka Tone114, and I'm going to catch you guys on the flip side. Happy Independence Day. Later.